You've heard of Greek myths, maybe even Norse legends. But the oldest story in human history is darker, more tragic, and far more human than you've ever imagined. It's not just a myth, it's a warning. A 4,000-year-old reflection of everything we still struggle with today: power, friendship, death, and the desperate fear of being forgotten. This is the story of Gilgamesh, a king, a tyrant, a god-man who wanted to become immortal and failed. Our story begins in ancient Mesopotamia, in the city of Uruk, a place of towering walls, golden temples, and divine kings. Gilgamesh was no ordinary ruler. According to the legend, he was two-thirds god, one-third man, a genetic mystery even science can't explain. His strength was unmatched, his wisdom vast, and his pride limitless. He built great structures and conquered all who opposed him, but he also ruled with cruelty. The people cried out to the gods. "He takes our sons for war," they said. "He takes our daughters for pleasure." His power had no equal, and no one could stop him. So the gods decided to intervene, but instead of destroying him, they created his equal. His mirror, his balance. From the clay of the earth and the wilds of the forest, they shaped a man named Enkidu. Hairy, savage, and raised by beasts, Enkidu roamed the wilderness like an animal. He drank from rivers, ran with gazelles, and knew nothing of cities or civilization. Until one day, a trapper spotted him and sent a woman to tame the beast, with the oldest trick in the book: seduction. After 7 days and 7 nights with her, Enkidu was transformed. He was no longer a wild thing. He became self-aware, conscious, human. But in gaining knowledge, he lost something too: the innocence of nature. The animals rejected him. He couldn't run with them anymore. So he journeyed to the city of Uruk, drawn by whispers of the mighty king who oppressed the people, Gilgamesh. When they met, it was instant chaos. They fought in the streets like gods clashing on earth. Walls shook, dust flew, but neither could defeat the other. And something strange happened. They began to respect each other. That day, a deep bond was born. Gilgamesh had never had an equal. Now he had a brother. Together they did what no one thought possible. They challenged the gods. They ventured to the forbidden cedar forest, home of the monstrous guardian Humbaba, a creature so terrifying, its breath was fire and its roar was death. But Gilgamesh and Enkidu faced it head-on. With courage, strategy, and brute strength, they killed the beast. The gods were furious. You don't kill their guardians without consequences. But Gilgamesh didn't care. His legend was growing. He was a hero now. Then came the Bull of Heaven. The goddess Ishtar, infatuated with Gilgamesh, proposed marriage. But he mocked her, reminding her of all the men she had destroyed. Humiliated, Ishtar begged her father to unleash the Bull of Heaven on Uruk. The bull descended with earthquakes and famine, but Gilgamesh and Enkidu, once again, stood side by side and slew the divine beast. That was the final straw. The gods met in council. Someone had to pay. And they chose Enkidu. The wild man, the brother, the heart of the story, was condemned to die. Enkidu grew sick. He cursed the gods. He cursed the trapper who led him from the forest. He cursed the woman who made him human. He had nightmares of the underworld, a place of dust, silence, and despair. And then he died. Just like that. No glory, no divine rescue, just the cold, final end. Gilgamesh was shattered. This man who had never feared anything, not death, not gods, not monsters, was now broken by grief. He stared at Enkidu's lifeless body for days, refusing to bury him. Flies swarmed. His people whispered, But Gilgamesh couldn't let go, because in Enkidu's death, he saw his own. And for the first time, the great king was afraid. That fear drove him mad. He cast off his royal robes, abandoned his throne, left the city, and began a journey that no man had ever completed: the quest for immortality. He traveled across deserts and mountains, through scorpion-guarded gates and the waters of death. He sought Utnapishtim, a man said to have survived a great flood and been granted eternal life by the gods. Sound familiar? Yes. The Epic of Gilgamesh contains a flood myth strikingly similar to Noah's Ark. A boat, animals, a storm sent by the gods. But this isn't a story about salvation. It's about the brutal truth of being mortal. When Gilgamesh finally finds Utnapishtim, he begs for the secret. "How can I live forever?" he asks. But the immortal man gives no comfort. He tells him the truth. All men must die, even heroes, even kings. There is no escape. Still, Utnapishtim offers him a test. "Stay awake for 7 days," he says. "Then I'll tell you the secret." Gilgamesh agrees. He sits, he waits, but within minutes, he falls asleep. For days. When he wakes, he's devastated. He's failed. But Utnapishtim takes pity on him. He tells Gilgamesh of a plant, hidden deep in the sea, that can restore youth. Gilgamesh dives in, retrieves the plant, and for a moment, he has hope. He'll take it back to Uruk, share it with his people, be remembered forever. But on the journey home, while bathing in a pool, a serpent steals the plant, slithers away, and with it takes Gilgamesh's last chance at immortality. Defeated, Gilgamesh returns to Uruk. He stands before the mighty walls he once built. The very walls that still stand today in archaeological ruins. And he realizes this is his true legacy. Not eternal life, not divine power, but the things he built, the stories he left behind, and the lessons learned through pain. The Epic of Gilgamesh ends not with triumph, but with acceptance. Gilgamesh doesn't become immortal. He doesn't conquer death, but he understands it, and in that understanding, he finds peace. This isn't just the world's oldest story. It's the most honest. It doesn't give you easy answers. It doesn't promise that heroes live forever, or that good always wins. It says, you will lose people you love. You will face death. You will fail. But what matters is how you live, what you build, who you love, and the stories people tell about you after you're gone. Think about it. A story written over 4,000 years ago still resonates today. Why? Because we haven't changed. We still want to be remembered. We still fear the end. And we still look for meaning in the face of loss. Maybe that's why Gilgamesh matters more than ever, because it reminds us that immortality isn't living forever. It's being worth remembering. And you're hearing his story now, thousands of years later, in a different language, on a glowing screen, in a world he could never imagine. But you remember him. So in a way, he won.